And at this time, what we're going to do is get in a really, really comfortable position. And first of all, we're going to bring in some beautiful, beautiful, powerful energy so that we can just flow, divinely flow with what's going on, And I just feel really, really energetic. This whole thing, looking at all my sacred brothers and sisters right now. Oh my God, my heart is just doing that. So we are going to do this. We're going to call on all of the angelic heavenly host, all of the Elohim, all of our ancestors. We're calling on all of the Christed light. We're calling on the Magdalene orders. We're calling on all of our sacred brothers and sisters. We're calling on our universal beings of light from all star constellations and all galaxies, all angelic beings that are at the sound of our voices and that can hear and feel our energy, which they do at all times. We invoke your energy to come upon us now, in this now moment, and send energy out to all of those that are in tune, that has tuned in, and even those that are not in tune. Everybody all over the planet, all over the galaxy, to pull those beings in and give them just the biggest burst of love energy possible. We are calling on Saint Germain and the purple, the violet flame of healing energy. We cover the entire planet with this beautiful healing energy. it is pulsating, and it cleanses and it frees everyone. It cleanses the air. It cleanses everything all the way down to the minute particles. It cleanses our hearts and prepares us for what is about to take place. Thank you, thank you, thank you, oh great ancestors. Thank you, all the angelic heavenly hosts. Thank you, Elohim. Thank you all. And we just give thanks and love to everyone at this time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so be it,
Oh,
and so
Thank
be
you.
it, and so be it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Woo. I'm telling you, amazing, isn't it?
I'm so
So
sweaty, Sandra. We haven't even started yet.
I just have to hug all five of us, 4, 5 on the panel, because y'all know behind the scenes that this is massive. And the reason that the reason that we are encountering this, we already know what's going on, and we are the forces that are to be reckoned with, because we are enforcing light, the full Christed light, divine light over everything, in efforts of assisting those that are just awakening, coming into our awakening process. I like how Michael has placed his hand over his heart. We would like everyone to place their hand over their heart center and just feel into that love space and feel how beautiful and pleasant it is. Feel the vibrations of it. And we're going to just send that beautiful vibration all the way out to others that have tuned into the program for Q&A. And so let it be, let it be, let it be, so be it. And there it is. I'm not really a big public speaker. I've been doing shows now for a little bit, but I'm still kind of working on my throat chakra and clearing a lot of things inside of me, which is how this show came to be. I was led to go ahead and just get out there and just see. It's always somebody you can help. It's always something you can do, from the minute little bitty things, the words you say, until the biggest, And so I'm so grateful for Darius coming on. I've never met him in person before, but he is a beautiful soul. I'm telling you. And Honey Bee has talked so beautiful, so much about him, and I could just feel the energy before I even saw him. And then when I heard his voice, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one. And this young lady, Concetta, oh my God. Oh, she is such, and look at the colors that she's wearing. That's what that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that feminine energy coming through, you know, and everything. And Honeybee and Michael, they know they're right here. They're my heart and everything. They're like my babies, you know. They're actually teaching me. So I'm the elder and they're the babies, but they teach like all of y'all teach. Okay, so enough about me. So what I'm going to do is get into reading a little bit until we get questions. And did we share the link with everybody?
So just give us a second. So what we're doing, Michael is sharing because this was supposed to be on One Storage Studio. So because of the technical difficulties here, so we're now sharing it to several places. So if you like, Sandra, we start until questions start to come. You know, so we can start, and usually you host it, so you start, and then we go wherever you like.
And Sandra,
so I usually. Were you gonna say something, Michael?
We're just gonna say, do you have another phone or computer where you can see the questions come in if they want?
Yes, I do. I have my phone. I also, I can home in on my phone.
Perfect.
Questions and stuff. But what I kind of do, what I wanted to do, I usually present with a questions to present to the platform. That's the way I've usually been doing it. And then we usually work off of those questions. So I can go ahead on and present the questions to you all.
Yes.
And then as we answer, or as we start elaborating on the answers, the questions start coming in from the audience. But I was wondering if the link was sent to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the questions, I mean, you guys are really vibrating extremely high. And so these questions are probably going to be, but you know, it's something that we can offer for people that are still growing and getting to the point where they need to be at. So one of the questions was, talk about our bodies and what's happening to our bodies. I'll read 3 or 4 questions and then we can go from there. The second question is, did we lose Concetta? The second question is, how will the cardinal alignment from December 21st to December 25th affect us? And what's the preparation for that event? And then the third one is, what should we expect for the rest of 2020? Is it going to get worse? Is it going to get better? Let's talk about that. And then any of the other topics that you guys want to present to the panel, that's good. It's an open forum. It's a question and answer. We're just flowing with it. And it's our thing. We're going to do it. We're at home. We're talking with family members and stuff. And the family members would be the people that click on the link and join our live conference. So the first question was, talk about our bodies, carbon-based to crystalline-based bodies, right? And what's happening with our bodies. What's that process? The reason a lot of questions are coming up is because a lot of people that are awakening now, they realize that something is not quite in alignment with what they had been taught, you know? And some of them don't even know the first clue about where to go. What about the chakra system? What are chakras? What does she mean about vibrational frequency? Those things, they may be elementary to us, but think about when we first came into our awakening and what happened to us and how we had to research and find out all these answers. So we are making it available to all of our audience to discuss those seemingly simple answers. What about our bodies? What does it mean to have a carbon-based body and shift it over into a diamond crystalline Christ-like body? Anybody, it's an open forum. And
I feel Darius, you should, because Darius being a physician and
he's just moving around.
I mean, he's a physician and medical, and galactic being, but he comes from that medical physician background. Please, Darius, I feel you take on this one.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for having me on this show. I'm very honored and a great pleasure for me.
Aww.
So just I understand that the audience comes from different backgrounds. Just to say, there are different dimensions, and for, well, millions, hundreds, thousands of years, we've been, as humanity, in the third dimension, which is where most people would say the only reality that exists. There are higher dimensions as well. And when that's happening at the moment, we move from the third via the fourth to the fifth dimension, right? And this is, we can see that for a long time that people start to become more conscious. 50 years ago, if a government would go, say we go to war, nobody would question that. Whereas now people have objections, you know, so there's also, or like people are more into animal interest and welfare compared to before. So we see already a rise of the consciousness there. The main energy of the third dimension is separation. I am different than you are. And we have linear timing as well, past, present, future. The fifth dimension we're going to is the Christ consciousness, the unity consciousness. I understand you are a reflection of me, I'm part of you, you are part of me, and everything is happening simultaneously. So there's just in a nutshell. Right. So everything has a divine plan and why this is happening. Here in the third dimension, we have polarity. To a degree, we can experience poverty versus abundance, disease versus health, being surrounded by love or feeling completely unloved. So this is a learning experience for us. So extreme situations like here in the third dimension helps us to learn a lot of things. In the fifth dimension, we have different things, right? The divine plan is that we now finish this third dimensional experience and move to the higher level, which is in a lot of cultures described, for example, in Christian, I think, esoteric teaching as the golden age. We have that in Sufism and all different religions in the esoteric aspects. So for us to experience the third dimension, our bodies have been created only that we barely survive. The frequencies in the higher we go in the dimension, the frequency gets higher, and our bodies, as they are here in the third dimension, are not suitable for that. So our bodies have to adjust to that. How is it going to happen? It can happen automatically. We're bombarded constantly and more frequently by massive amounts of divine high dimensional light. You know, at the moment, some of you may know we're in the photon belt in the universe as well. This is an area where we're simply exposed to divine light. This on its own creates DNA activation. DNA activation, basically, we can see that on different levels. But one way to look at that is it raises our frequency and helps to break down all the old programs that helped us here to have a third dimensional reality, right? So this has happened automatically, and that can cause a lot of symptoms too, you know, from headache to panic, you know, and a lot of the chaos which is happening at the moment is a reflection of that. And also another way how to do activation is, I think a lot of us, or all of us probably do that as starseeds, those who are in active service. We can help people to activate their body in a very constructive way, in a very, and help to integrate the high dimension light. In this way, raise the frequency faster and also help to integrate these changes with much more grace and ease before. As a reflection of that, when we look energetically at people, the light starts to change, you know, and I think different people, different healers will see that in a different way. Yeah. It's very common that the light starts to change from a darker color to more diamond coat, right? And this is what we can see as well. As I said, there are many different views, and all of them have their truth to it. But I think where a lot of people probably agree is that the quality of the light changes, you know, and what appears to be carbon-based, you know, like some of you may know that the most common, or one of the most common elements in the DNA is the carbon, is going to be transformed into a crystalline structure, you know, and that goes hand in hand with the diamond light codes that we have present, or that some of us can see. So that's
wow. Wow.
Beautiful. Full explanation, Sandra. Yeah, and you know, the only thing that I wanted to add to what Darius said is this from carbon to crystalline. Crystalline allows the reflection of the light, the diamond, and it is about the Christ light shining through our outer conscious vehicles. These are conscious vehicles, and there's several vehicles we have, where through the mighty I am presence, as the stream light, the golden light streams through, it is through the Christ itself that when the body is transformed from the carbon to crystalline, can embody the Christ light through its bodies, because there's no more of these lingering energies within the field, because it can only radiate the rate of its origin of purity flame. And that's really what that is. It's we've heard about it, the second coming of Christ. That means literally we've moved from being carbon to crystalline beings, Christed beings. So we're now living from our Christ God, Goddess presence.
You can move this. I'm having a little bit of difficulty hearing you guys. I've got.
So maybe Sandra, you can just turn your phone off, so your phone, it doesn't.
Yeah, because between the communications with the phone, but there's a lot of questions on the platform, and I can see them. I can see them on the phone.
So maybe you can turn your ringer.
Can you see them, Michael?
I have
There's one from Caitlin Miller.
Yeah.
Emily is in the house. We have one from, let's see, Caitlin Miller. I'm having a huge difficulty being triggered by the current place the collectives is at. My opposing perspectives, truth, vaccines, mainstream mass media, and politics. I find myself getting immediate. Can you see that, Michael?
Yeah, immediately triggered, upset, biting my lip, exploding with opposition. Any feedback on how to deal with this in the terms of not judging others, accepted, and feeling triggered?
Yes. So maybe we should address that. Thank you, Darius, for such a beautiful explanation, a short talk on the crystalline body. And I wanted to address some of those, some of the points that he made in that, but I was trying my best to try to hear everything. So between the phone and what's going on now, but we'll get back to that. Let's address the question from Caitlin Miller. If anybody, Concetta, can you see that as well?
I cannot see the question. I can just see you.
Okay, would you like to address a little bit of the questions that Caitlin asked, Concetta?
Sure, absolutely. Caitlin, I completely feel you. I see you. I understand where you're coming from, because believe me, I have to babysit triggers myself. Because it's very easily to get triggered when you know the truth and when you see the truth.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's difficult. It's difficult not to explode, want to explode, carry that anger around with you all day, just thinking about what someone said, and you know that what they said is not the truth.
Yep.
So what I have been doing with myself, consciously just realizing and knowing that everyone is on their own journey and everyone is at a different place in their journey. So a wise old yogi once said, those who know more have to do more. We know more. So the more that we have to do is respond from that high vibrational, higher consciousness, higher frequency way, instead of getting all crazy about it. And you're going to see it's going to become easier and easier when you just take a step back, take a deep breath, and say, you know what?
Yeah.
This person doesn't know what I know and doesn't see what I see. And try to reach out maybe, or educate them from a empowered, grounded, centered place, instead of a place of explosion. Because when you explode, it only makes it worse. They don't hear you anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's so much, I call it the jitters, that jittery energy in the air. You know, everybody's got to wear their face covered up when you go to the grocery store.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness.
when you get inside of the grocery store, everything's been picked over, and they're making the aisles teeny weeny. So you can just go down one way and come back the other. It's the craziest nonsense. I do not like the experience I get when I go to the store. So I only go when I have to go. But what I'm saying is it creates that energy of
Yes.
nervousness and anxiety and, oh my God, are we gonna die tomorrow? This kind of stuff. And so it's a deliberate attempt to keep the masses of people distracted from what is
Absolutely.
really happening to them. And so with people that are out there that are like basically experiencing these, having anxiety attacks and just getting real nervous, you know, and not sure from one day to the next. This is why the program was created, to assure you that you're going to be fine. Everything is fine. Calm down. Like Concetta said, take 2 or 3 steps back. If you have to go way back, do that. Sit down and just focus on what it is you really think you are nervous about, and work with that. Just work with one little thing, one small thing at a time. And then maybe you can bite another piece of the cookie off once you've digested the first piece of the cookie. You know, you can't just sit down and just gobble the whole damn cookie down and swallow it and think that everything you're gonna get sick. So yeah, I definitely think that was a great explanation. Any of the platform guests want to speak on that, or do we move to the next question?
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
maybe if I can say one more thing. Often when we have a specific knowledge and let's say a little bit more than the average, the majority of people, we make this perspective that we have as the benchmark. But we shouldn't forget that above us, there's so much more knowledge as well. You know, so even if we're a little bit higher than someone else, there are myriads of other beings with a much higher consciousness than we have. So it's a little bit of an ego crashing exercise as well. I can share my perspective, but I cannot say this is the absolute divine truth, the divine perspective.
Oh,
I feel like Michael should address when you are actually at the store and you being yelled and screamed at and you being called a narcissist because your mask is how to handle that.
So,
because he did experience that.
So I feel that because I think our biggest test to move through is really to see our own reaction versus our response.
Yeah.
And it's important, you know, just a couple weeks ago, I was in Trader Joe's and my mask was below my nose, and someone that actually knew me and knew Honey and
knows us
said, can you please put your mask over? And it was a very hot day. And I have a trouble breathing in general with a mask on. I said, I have a breathing problem. I can't place it. He's like, I'm sorry, you have to put your mask on. I don't believe you. And he started coming after me, like, you know, started screaming at me, be like, you have to do it. And I turned around. I said,
but hold on, but he called you, he called
me a narcissist.
You're going to hurt people. And
he's like, you liar. I said, can you please take me to your manager right now?
Lord.
And can you please take me to your manager? I said, by state law, you know, if anyone has a breathing condition, then I can place it below my nose. And he's like, you're scaring people. You're making an incident. I turned, I said, actually, you're scaring people. And what the point was is, as he was being triggered, it was my responsibility in my own ascension process to stay calm, to not personalize, to not defend, and actually recognize what was coming up in me, because I could feel the energy moving up through me. I could feel the rage coming up through me, but it was also my personal level of recognizing what conscious I was dealing with, because he was projecting all of his fear upon me. And he was actually having his own panic attack and wouldn't stop staring at me like really bad until I walked to the register, because the manager just said, please check out, you may leave now, because they couldn't do anything. Point being is, when a trigger comes along in these times, it's really our responsibility to look deeper in seeing, what is the trigger teaching me? What is it bringing up to me? Because there's a gift in there of a deeper healing. And I feel right now, the whole world is being triggered. Everything is coming up
Yeah.
to be cleared, to be healed, and to be washed away. And it's okay for us to respond. It's just our choice of response should not be, it's not valuable to project upon others.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for us to express it in a way that it's not going to cause harm. It's not going to cause disharmony. And for me, I always look at myself when a trigger comes, how can I look at the best way that I can personally take care of it, go deeper into it, see what's coming up, and then allow myself to really dive and feel what is the real lesson teaching me versus looking on the outside of what we all see, the media, we see the government, we see all the policies that are like little thorns that are coming out at us. And I find right now it's our responsibility to see how we can transmute that, as Heidi and I were talking, with the violet flame, with our Christ itself. How can we, stand in the leaders of Ascension right now to help others see through it? Because, we're much higher than that
We're much
in this
bigger
movement
than
right now. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I feel, Sandra, the trigger, when our consciousness, like at our level of consciousness, we recognize trigger as necessary initiation step into our next octave of light. So we embrace it because we recognize whatever has surfaced is now having the opportunity and the gift to be blessed by this golden light. So we at our consciousness, we don't resist the triggers, we embrace it. I feel individuals who are maybe are more newer in their awakening journey, just like where we were kicking and screaming. We went through hell and back with the amount of triggers for years. So now we kind of like, trigger is like a best friend now. It's like, come have some tea with me, like it's like a different experience because we've recognized the value that it's not in separation. It's not here to hurt us. It's here to bring the mastery of our Christhood forward. So the consciousness shifts, and we do know those who are newer in their awakening journey, they will get here. It just took a few years for us.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I can say I'm still massively growing, and I just embrace all of the panel members that I have each program that we do, because that really, it raises me to another level. I have, like I say, I'm having issues with my throat chakra expressing, am I gonna say the right words? People are gonna look at me funny because I'm an elder. All of this kind of stuff, that's stuff to me now, and I have to get past that. And that's why I'm so grateful. Oh, another point that I want to make, I know I'm jumping around. Another point that I want to make was the earth. Keep in mind that the planet is changing. I think one of the questions that was addressed to the panel was about the cardinal alignment that's coming up. Well, actually, it's already taken place, and as it culminates toward the end of the year, what changes are going to be going on within our bodies. The planet is changing. Once all of those planets lined up pretty much like it was in 2012. You guys are familiar with the Mayan calendar and stuff. Then a lot of erratic energy is just going to be gone. We're releasing it now. We're in the process of releasing all of that now. But what is kind of questionable, it comes up in the form of a trigger or something. It can kind of frighten you how it's presented to you. It's like, oh my God, I thought I got rid of that. No, buddy, it's still there. You got work to do. I'm talking about me too. You still got work to do. Is there a correct way to do it? Just follow your intuition, follow your guidance from your inner self. People don't even know about how to go within and listen to that voice within. That's really your God I am presence in there speaking to you. So, but the point I want to get back to the planet and stuff, it's changing. And so if we're on her, we are changing as well. As we shift, she shifts. As she shifts, we shift. Every man, woman, boy, girl, whatever star seed comes into the planet are being born. All of this is a part of this whole, I want to say, age process. And we're moving into a new age where everything has to change, you know? Really, I want to kind of address that too. What if, will there be instances where there will be some parts that don't change? I don't think so, but I was wondering if we could address that. People feel left behind. Oh my God, I gotta hurry up and ascend by a certain time. I gotta be ready to go through this portal at a certain time. What do I do? Do I stop eating? You know, do I om all day? Do I get my Rajachra beads and start going 108 mantras? You know, I'm telling y'all because I've been through it. Yeah. I'm just saying, you know, what other people may feel. You guys probably been through it too. Been a long time because, you know, I didn't reach 70 for nothing. I went through some stuff to get here.
Darius, maybe you can address that and then.
Darius, come on with it. He just bugged.
Okay, all right. So, like, shall we start with the planet first,
planet.
or?
Yeah.
Okay,
planet.
all right. So I think one aspect of for us going to ascend and going to the fifth dimension is that we become co-creators together with the divine.
Yes, yes.
And I know a lot of people in the spiritual community have been talking about the event, you know, like, and asking, referring to a specific time frame.
Yeah.
Please bear in mind that the past, present, future, this timeline, linear time, is an aspect of the third dimension. And what is perfectly okay from that perspective, from a high dimension, or fifth or higher, there is no, or even fourth dimension already, there is no such a linear time. Everything is happening simultaneously, right? So actually what we do is we can jump timelines.
Good point.
We are creators, we are creators of the reality, right? The reality, what we experience, is a reflection of the energy we project out. And this is all for us a learning experience. So I think it's always important to keep our the vision of deal with the things what comes up. Same in Trader's Joe, you know, when we're being. But the same as keep the energy high. If I project, if my ability to manifest with my thoughts, with my actions, with my emotions, is getting higher and higher. If I see doom and gloom, that this is what I'm gonna experience in my reality. If I choose to manifest heaven on earth, then this is what I'm much more likely to get. And especially if we work together as a group, right? If we start to do group healing, this is really when we do planetary healing. The earth doesn't have to be cataclysmic, right? Or that California disappears and Canada as well. Half of that, it doesn't have to be at all. We're not here, we're not punished by our creator for being here to have a horrific end. We're here, it's a great blessing. Try to remember that, and we're supported. We just have to ask for help, and there's at this time so much help available. You know, we just have to leave the old paradigm behind and willing to change, right? And one way to keep ourselves in a high frequency is actually the energy of our universe is divine love, unconditional love. So when we bring the energy of divine love in, and with divine love comes together gratitude. So if, let's say, you can easily give 5 things you're grateful for, you can express that raises your frequency.
Exactly.
Forgiveness, you know, understand for myself and for others one as well. You know, we're all connected. Everything that I experience, if I'm attacked, it's a reflection of myself. You know, so, and it's just a game what we're playing here. So forgiveness, gratitude, and compassion, right? For compassion for people who are much higher evolved or less evolved than I am, or on the same level, and for myself. So when we have these energies in, then we automatically resonate at a much higher frequency already, right? So it's actually, it's not rocket science. Spiritual evolution is not something you need bigger and bigger folders in order to do that. As we get closer and closer to the source, it becomes much more harmoniously, because we don't have to put in a lot of blocks and work against things that are aligned with us. It should be much more harmoniously as well.
Oh man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Concetta, you got a comment to make about that?
Yes, I agree with you, Darius, 1,000,000%. The attitude of gratitude is the way to go right now. And also surrender.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Surrender. I have completely and totally surrendered to the divine. I know that I can't control what's going on around me. I can control what's going on inside of me. And I choose to keep my vibration high. And, you know, just as Darius said, love, compassion, kindness, making the right choices, making the right decisions, staying in that high vibrational frequency. But to the rest of it, you just have to surrender. You have to let it go. Because if you keep holding on to it, your wheels are spinning and you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's just round and around and around, and you're not growing.
And gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Be thankful for everything you have. Everything. Even the triggers. And even, you know, the crappy situations. They're teaching you something. Just be thankful. The more thankful you are, the more the universe gives you to be thankful for.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm going to use that, Concetta. I mean, y'all going to see me post right on my Facebook page. Purple, you know, I got to get that. Okay. Thank you, darling.
If I may add one thing, Concetta, in 2019, before 2020, 2 words kept coming to me, and it was accept and surrender. And I felt the power of those words because, you know, a lot of people, when they hear surrender, they feel like give my power away. But when we surrender and we accept to the divine, we allow. And I feel right now there's so much happening that it's just so important to step back, observe, and witness in our higher self so that we don't get pulled into it.
Yes.
There we go.
And might I add, mind your business. You know, everyone is so caught up in everyone else's business. Mind your business.
Mind your business. I'm going to put that on my page too.
But you know, when you mind it, Sandra, because when we said this, the reason why they said, because when you mind it, you're materializing it.
There you go.
So you want to be very careful with what you are minding, because you put in your energy, and the minute you have that feeling behind it, you actually create it right away. You drop it, you alchemize it, you materialize it right away. And one of the things I want to tie in here from the planetary that Darius talked about, the planets and what's coming up. We're going into the fall equinox on Tuesday, and then the next 3 months. But one of the things that most individuals may not be aware of, what is happening on Earth, that she has made her shift into her 5th dimension. She's become Gaia. She's actually, together with those who've incarnated onto this planet, they're part of the Earth becoming the star she's destined to be. So take part, as she has a seat on the Galactic Federation of Light. So we have incarnated, and especially a soul group like this, to make sure this golden age does take place. So because it's not just Earth that is working on her ascension with her children, it's many other planets, because then the other high dimensional conscious beings, such as, let's say, Office of the High Council, they're also ascending. So everybody, there's a universal ascension taking place. Earth is just one part of this entire universal ascension, because all of them, every thousands of years, there's this cycle that is taking place. So now that we've entered this golden age, it is the calling of the golden light. The golden light has these certain properties of the virtues of divine qualities, which is the compassion, which is the forgiveness, which is the heart standing, which is the awareness, which is all these beautiful attributes of divine. And again, as we become more crystalline, because we're able to meet these triggers, these triggers are part of the crystalline becoming, because as we meet it, we bring this energy to it, we rise up more crystalline, more crystalline. So these divine virtues can be anchored into Gaia. And that's part of the larger picture behind, so she can be the shining star she's supposed to be, to take finally the seat on the Galactic Federation of Light.
Absolutely. And then keep in mind, there's particles. I talk about this all the time, that there's particles, you know, in the air now that are actually changing us. The air is basically water too. You know, our bodies are what, 80 or 90% water. And so we're actually breathing in the essence. Just think of what happens when you consciously, when you meditate purposely and set an intention, and you start breathing in, and you're taking all that energy in with a beautiful intent, going into the heart space, how you expand so quickly, you know? And that's
water is golden liquid light. Most people
golden liquid
light.
light.
It's golden. Water is golden liquid light, and that's why when you tune it, it does that. When you tune into the frequency.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so we have a comment here by Kimberly. Hey, Katina. We have a comment here by. How do you see, Katina? Yes, surrender. This is from Kimberly Teresa Harper. Yes, surrender. When this process started, it was a tornado through my life. Then I became overwhelmed because I tried to research too. And she said, instead, I had to shift and just open and observe all. So here again, when I held up those three fingers a while ago, I was saying observer, creator, and participant.
Yes.
At the same time, that's what we're doing. We're creating, and we're sitting back and observing our creation and participating in it at the same time. So when you surrender, you're actually surrendering to the creation that you created. You know, is it a good creation? Well, you will know that, you know. The creators, that whoever's created for us to be on this show, so they could see all of their many selves, which are us, talking back to them at the same time. And we're doing the same thing. It kind of gets kind of wild, and, you know, I don't like
convoluted.
It gets like, whoa. And you have to kind of slow down and just sit still and let it just flow. You know, and that's what I had, because I'm all over the place. I had a problem just sitting down and listening, you know. And so thank you for that comment. That was Kimberly Teresa. Katina's watching. Erica says, I really appreciate the detailed clarity. You're very welcome. Katina says, wholeness and harmonious and wholeness and harmonious vibrations, family. Divine Lady Ninhersag. Mary Felder, she's got a question. Thank you, Katina. Mary Felder Owens. This is my buddy. She's so sweet.
She's our best, one of our best.
Oh my God, Mary is off the chain. Hey, Mary. She says, as the Earth ascends to 5D, and what happens to this do not awaken those. I think she's asking
those who do not choose Ascension. She rewrote the question to those that do not choose Ascension.
Oh yeah, okay, I see it at the bottom. Okay, so we want the panel to address that. I mean, you know, it's really a free will choice. You know, so what she's asking is the ones that, as we ascend into 5D, what about those that don't choose the Ascension process?
Well, I can just say it very short. I feel, you know, right now we can see what's happening in our Earth right now. It is a fear-based program that we are dismantling. And I really believe that those that choose to stay in fear, it's like those that are like running through the mud, but the mud's kind of like pulling them back. It's like slowing them down in quicksand. As those that are moving forward in their ascension process, they're raising their frequency, they're raising their light, they're ascending in their process. But those that choose to just to live in fear and to live in their program, I feel those are the ones that are, to me, are the ones that are going to be living in a life of more problems, stress, anxiety, worry. And really, I feel living to the 3D of the old paradigms that are breaking down versus those that are ascending to the 5D that are living in a higher light and frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that everybody will make the ascension. They may not do it in this incarnation. They're going to turn right back in and do it, or they're going to come back in the next one. So if there is a divine agreement placed here, everybody will get there eventually. It may not be just this, because some, like many of us volunteers that chose to take part, very specifically assigned to take part. So that's where we are in the focus. And we've also agreed to accept those who have agreed not to take part of the ascension. So and those who make part, it's Ascension. That means you're preparing to be able to just return back to source light and allow this to rise up together globally. And then, of course, planetary and universal, cosmically, universal, and what have you. The ones that, if the free will is taking part, or they still don't quite have the readiness, no problem. They're going to go out of the body. They're going to come right back in. There was one thing, however, in one of the meditation, Tuesday night meditation we had, we saw the ones, like, let's say, that were transitioning, the elder ones that were transitioning, particularly during the initial part of the COVID, because they were older, they weren't able to fully fulfill the ascension. When they crossed over, when we saw the crystal bridge, the crystal bridge, then they were placed the golden halo around them. Then when they cross over, they receive their ascension, because it wasn't enough time for them to make it. So I totally feel trust. At some point or another, all will make the ascension. So some are assigned to go a little bit earlier to lead the others, and some are a little bit designed to stay back a little bit. And it's a perfection. Yeah.
If I can just my perspective, and I don't claim to have the truth about that. I think ultimately I fully agree. Thank you for that. That everyone has a chance to ascend, and some people who have more resistance or fear of change, it may take a little bit longer. However, there may be some souls who choose to be actively on a very dark path. And which is part, and they are still, after all, divine aspects, expression of the divine. If at some point, if they choose to have a fourth dimensional with all the dark magic, what is going on, or like a third dimensional existence, and the planet has ascended, and there's no third dimensional for them anymore to live on, then they would need to, whether it's physically die or vanish, they would need to either go back to the soul soup and will be recreated, and they lose their individual expression of divinity, or they would be reincarnated in a different universe where third dimensional existence, karmic game still exist. I think these are very few, but there may be a few, as I said, but they're not the usual people who have resistance to spiritual growth, but the ones who actively chose the dark path.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Okay, Concetta, any words on that from you, dear?
Well, I'm hoping those that those who actively have a role in being dark right now, I'm hoping that they just get extracted off the planet and we never have to deal with them again.
Oh.
So that I'm being super, super hopeful, but I am in agreement. You know, those who aren't going to get it right this time, they'll just come back and do it again later on. And then
absolutely
the ones that are just staying here, stuck in 3D, when they finally make their conscious decision to come out of it and ascend, that's when they'll ascend.
It'll happen. Absolutely.
And it'll happen. You know, hopefully in this lifetime, but if not, they're going to come back around.
Yep.
As many times as it takes.
As many times as it takes. I mean, I can't imagine how many times it took me to get to this point, y'all. I cannot imagine my track record. I probably did some of everything. But I set up one day and decided around 2012, hell to the no.
Yeah.
I'm coming back here. I'm not doing this again. I got to get it right.
Yeah.
So that merited me walking out of a almost 30-year marriage.
Wow.
It's okay. I went through some stuff
Yeah.
when I did that, but it was a conscious something in me said, look, this is a matter of life and death for you. Not in the way we're thinking, you know, as linear thinking, but something in here hit me and I'm like, whoa, you know, no cheating, no, none of that stuff. You know, our family thought I was nuts, but I kept going. I'm like, I'm not doing this again. I don't like seeing people miserable, starving. I don't like the feeling of seeing hunger, deformity, you know, unfairness, racial, by all of this stuff, you know, we can fix that, you know? And so for me, it was just really, it was a challenging choice because I had to let a lot of stuff go. But at the same time, look what I gained from it. I can actually help my ancestors. I can help my children and my grandchildren on this side. I can help everybody just by making a surrender, allowing sacrifice. Just do it, you know? So with that in mind, I don't know how the subject got on talking about me, but okay, let's get back. We got some questions here. Caitlin, not an essential question, but how come Ascension ETs, starseeds, and family of light isn't as common amongst 20-something millennials? Talking about the 20-year-olds. Maybe it is, but I haven't seen or heard this spoken about amongst that demographic. Any thoughts or opinions and why? Now she's asking, what about the 20-year-olds, the millennials? Yeah, it's in them.
Yeah.
And you will see it.
Yeah.
The further that we move into this energy. Go ahead, honey. I didn't mean to.
I feel it's such a great question because I actually had this conversation with my older son who's just turned 20. And okay. Some of the group of the early 20-year-olds, such as you, Caitlin, have made this agreement to boldly be their forefronts to start pouring it in.
Right. Some
of the other ones are part of the observers before they can bring their part in. Now, one of the things that I gathered, many of the ones that millennial and this early 20s, they have had so much of the ET experiences as a child, and they have been one of the heaviest hit of deprogramming, let's say not deprogramming, but like targeted from the foods, from the institution to make sure you don't remember any of it, make sure you don't exercise, and particularly because this early 20-year-olds, there's a large population with the ADHD and all of that, and there's a lot around that has taken, they have had this attention to higher dimension, you know, instead of this ADD. But however, because of the way the setup has made sure they do not exercise their star nation origin multidimensional selves. So they're more but they are coming with this sense of entitlement, but they're bringing this vibration that of they don't have the programs that we on this call have. We've had to really unprogram, but they come in right away because they're plugged into this outlet of the higher dimension. So they're materializing it faster and faster. That's what they're part of that technology. Now, they're not speaking as much about it. I really feel because some of them are bold out speaking, but some of them are just observing, and it seems like they have to be past this age 25 before they can come in. So that's what I've gathered.
Wow.
As my son said, Mommy, you have to understand, I had so many experiences, but it wasn't safe for me to be me. and literally has said that, like, can't express so much about the galactic experience, the ships, all of that. He just, you know, but he said it was too much. I had to not allow it fully. So that's a direct experience, and also what I've gathered. But anybody else wants to address?
If I could add just a small piece, I feel since the millennium, if you really look at our central nervous system and how stimulated we've been and how distracted, I feel technology can serve as a beautiful positive, but at the same time, it can distract us. You know, many people, when you look at these days of how deep they're going within themselves versus sometimes we are so caught up in all the social media, caught up within the computer, and how many people are really taking their time to go within their spiritual journey because of just how much stimulation not only is going within technology, but the pace that's moving around. And what I witness is these beautiful 20-year-olds, they are working technology and they are doing things I've never seen myself do in their 20s.
Yeah.
People, you know, learned, and I'm like, wow, it's like, you know, it took a while for me to, like, you know, chew gum and walk at the same time. And here they are, like, you know, they're on their phones, they're doing like 10 things at once. And I'm thinking, do they ever meditate, or is this their walking meditation?
That's their meditation, you know?
They're moving so fast, and they have
their fingers are going like that on the phone, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and they have their purpose. But I also feel like the technology revolution, when we look at 2000 to now, there is so much going on right now that I just feel like the time to be present is a lost art. Yeah. And I don't know if that's for the millennials or not, but this is what I just see sometimes of how fast, you know, our beautiful young teenagers, 20-year-olds are moving through, because it's almost like there is no stopping because there's always somewhere to go.
Yep, yep.
Might I add to that? I feel like they are over vaccinated and they are over medicated because of the ADD, the ADHD. They're just bombarded with all these different medications and pharmaceuticals, and they're just all bogged up and cannot step into their divine true self because they're blocked up.
Yeah, it's a deliberate attempt.
And if they do talk about, let's say, the other, let's say, races, and so then it would be, wow, they're having too much of the imagination, they're going into this psychosis and what that. So because the amount of DSM, right? It's been years since I've done any of that. The amount of diagnosis on there is so much now. So there's also, I feel, maybe a fear of being able to speak out. Like I experienced the Arcturians or the Syrians or Lyrans and what have you. So it's like they feel they don't have a place to fully express. A safe place to fully express. However, the younger ones, like under 10, under 8, 7, like we have all kinds of conversation with this age group, how opening up about, we speak in light language with each other, no problem. But it's after this age 10 to, like Caitlin said, early millennial, like to early 20s, it's just their expression, especially in recognition. They may recognize they're from different other star or nations, but they just don't feel they can really fully express, or they don't have the platform to fully express.
They'll be labeled as, you know, crazy and thrown on medication.
Yeah. Heavily medicated.
Heavily medicated.
Darius, maybe you can, if there's anything you can, because I mean, you are a physician.
Yeah, I was thinking
all about the drug world, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, I can fully second what you said. I agree. I mean, if I look at that, the younger people are, the higher the frequency is by birth. But I mean, I had, I don't know, a handful of vaccination when I was in school. Nobody knew, maybe heard about some autism, but nobody knew someone who's autistic or has Asperger's. And this is completely different with the over medication as well. That's a control mechanism of the dark forces, if you see it this way. And to suppress that, it's obviously failing the attempt, thank God. But this is what I'm seeing, overstimulating with a computer as well, you know, and we know there are some signals inside that scramble a little bit
Yeah.
divine harmonic brain activities, as well as
So elegantly you said that, Darius.
being over-medicated. And I see that as well, and I think probably you have similar experiences as well. So many people have, even if their doctor says, oh, it's just a small sleeping tablets, a small dose, or just like a very weak antidepressant. I see that the ability of a client that I have who takes any kind of medicine, even if it's just very small, which affects the central nervous system, antidepressant, antipsychotic, ADHD medication, sleeping tablet, the ability to perceive my work is much reduced. And a lot of the time has to be dedicated to detox the bodies first. With that, it's not only the physical thing, but also the effects goes into the other bodies as well. And especially if we have anything that affects the nervous system of the body, which is often does, it opens portals and allows any kind of etheric implants, entities to come in.
Yes.
You know, and that clouds the high vision of these people.
Yeah.
You know?
And
however, the light which is coming in is doing a lot of clearing anyway.
Totally. And you just spoke on something. This is going to go back to Caitlin's questions just 1 second, because this is also one of the conversations we had with my sons. The amount of drugs this age group takes from middle school on, like the level and the amount accessible to them. Our age group, we did not have that level, the amount and accessibility. So again, not just pharmaceutical, but also the recreational drugs is so much. So that's another one that sometimes gives them experience. They don't know how to run there. They don't have the social support, so they can't express it. If they express it, then it's sent to psychiatric ward and whatever. Or they're already open. Then there is also a lot with the negative entities. So there's trouble with the family. So one of the things has been a lot about that education, and also like some of them that start discovering, like for example, let's say plant medicines and what have you, then because there's this drive of ego, then they go crazy even with that. Then they also create more harm. Then the experience of them with their star, let's say, or origin or their multidimensional self gets put on the back, and then this takes over because it creates some kind of addiction. So it's a very interesting group, this early 20-year-olds. And Caitlin, honestly, maybe you can be an advocate. You know so much. Start a group, safe group for star seeds that are in this, so you guys can be more disciplined, because you're missing the experience and the discipline and the support, so that you can feel safe being exactly that beautiful multidimensional being and bring the goods to earth.
Wow.
Okay. I love Sandra's.
Lord have mercy. Okay. Hold on. Keep going. I don't know. Just keep going. We've lost.
We have this conversation with Concetta's children when we go over there. Concetta's children, like in her, we have all of this question. I was like, Shamanti is an ET in this form. Like, let's talk. Let's feel safe and talk.
And they love it.
Yeah,
they love it.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm back. I was freaking out there for a minute. I got a thing that says you've lost connection. Big letters. I'm like, oh God.
No.
Okay, so moving on. And actually we'll take a few more minutes because believe it or not, the time really, really flies by when we're trying to, talk and talk about these types of things. It can never be enough programs of this nature to, we got to be more in service to the public by giving, maybe once a week. Todd wants to do it every 2 weeks, and we may up that, or we'll just expand the time and stuff. But so we have a couple of comments here by Erica Xavier. She said, I heard that masters like Jesus had all 24 chromosomes working. And this is supposedly what we mostly are missing. And therefore, we can't walk on water or do the anti-gravity thing, etc. So you all want to address that?
Darius, take that on.
Okay, all right.
For Darius for that.
He was itching in his seat. Did you guys see him squirming and stuff?
My question.
Mine. Okay.
I think you may know from biology class, conventional science says there are 2 strands of DNA in humans.
Yes.
But if you look energetically, as we raise our frequency and get the DNA activation, we start to activate additional DNA strands, right? So I think in order to be in the 5th dimension, we don't have to activate all of them. Let's say they come in groups. It's like one they have like the next group would be 12 DNA strands. I think then it's 24 and 36 that corresponds also, from my perspective, with specific dimension that we're in. So in the 5th dimension, we can have 12 DNA strands activated, but I understand that we don't have to have all DNA strands activated in order to be there, right? Abilities like levitating, walking on water, which is levitating just like you choose a different underground, right? A different floor, right? This is as the frequency rises and we do more and more DNA activation, and these abilities, clairvoyance, clairaudience, telepathy, levitating, shape-shifting, flying, time travel, all that will come more and more into existence. Right, I think it's not in the too distant future anymore that we see more people being able to do that, and it probably appears on YouTube channel as well, or TikTok. You know, so but it's something we don't have to have 24 DNA strands activated. You know, same as you don't have to have like 100% of your karma released in order to ascend. Some people say 50% of the karma released is sufficient. Anyway, this is just one perspective, but DNA strands, as I said, we don't have to have 12 activated in order to ascend to the 5th dimension yet.
Wow, that's awesome to know. You know,
to add to that with Darius, because I completely agree, one of the things that I have received from the Intergalactic Council of Light, so we have this 12 strands, and then the next set of 12 strand, the next set of 12 strand. That first set of 12 strand, and then there are diamond templates for each of these 12 strands, and they correspond to the geometric pattern of our existence and how much light is vibrating through this geometric pattern that correspond to each of these strands, and they carry certain rays, certain light frequency within them. Now, what's key with this in terms of some of these gifts, like what Master Beloved Jesus the Christ had, on a soul agreement, there was this agreement to come in already activated with a higher level of this, let's just say, already activated because of his planetary call, so that he can demonstrate what is capable, but in order for the rest of us, it's already embedded with us, it's already created, co-created with us. We are all fully capable of it. What is the key for us is on a planetary level, first, the Gaia had to have the structure around the stratosphere set, which has now been placed. For a long time, it has not had that structure, the geometric pattern, which is the dodecahedron and the icosahedron put together as the unity Christ conscious grid, which is, where is that one, Michael, if you can show that. It has to have that. So now that's been activated, that holds the frequency. So for those who are ready, you have to have minimum 8 strand of your DNA fully activated, so that you do not harm yourself when you want to, when you're called to experience, let's say, bilocation. Darius and I with Michael have this communication, that we like to be able to experience this together. You have to have certain strands because it gives you that ability. But it's not like from out of ego, I'm going to go activate this so I can bilocate or shapeshift. It's not that. There is a purpose, because even these qualities are there for purpose, for the highest good of all, to support the planetary consciousness of the cosmic Christ. So it's very intricate, but it's good to inquire and be inquisitive about it. However, it comes with mastery and discipline. So it's not like, because it has a lot of power, you can cause so much damage, not just to yourself within the field, to others. So again, the reason why all these gifts have not been freely open up to all of us, because with all due respect, we've been immature to be able to handle these higher ability gifts. So it's had to slow down so that we can practice. Right now, we're still trying to handle the thought that materializes into form with our emotion. So how are we going to handle this level of magnificent divine quality of light?
Absolutely. A question from Erica Xavier says, how do we know how many are activated? That's what I was going to present to the panel. You said 8, a minimum of 8. How are they going to know when they get to that 8?
Okay, so that's another question. I don't know if you like me to answer that, and then maybe you all can
present it to the panel, whomever wants.
Okay, so one of the things that I have also received, like I'll speak directly with me, I got to actually experience seeing that. I happened to, when I had died, I was on spirit side. I got to see where my DNA was brought into the center by the Golden Council of Tour Doctorians, and they reshifted my DNA strand, and they activated to its 8th strand, and they said the rest of the 12 will be completed once you go through your ascension initiations. So there are multiple levels. The one thing is the level of divine love, the level of divine compassion, and the level of divine forgiveness capability you have. These 3 are a huge part of how, because you cannot be operating from this 8th strand if you have not been able to handle these 3. So that's a very simple, like, indicator. Anybody else wants to answer that?
May I also add that I feel like you kind of get the hint that you're there or close to being there when your physical body starts to record certain things. Physical body starts to like have aversions to certain things. Like I noticed I could no longer tolerate meat or anything from an animal in my body. Sugar. Sugar is another big one. I cannot tolerate sugar in, high amounts. Caffeine. I cannot tolerate any pharmaceuticals. I cannot tolerate alcohol. Things like that. That was my hint that, wow, my DNA is activating and unscrambling and coming into play big time.
Wow,
I don't know if that helps, but that's how I knew that I was there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're going to notice a lot of physical changes in your physical vehicle as well. Once you start working and cleaning out all of that stuff on the inside, the body's going to, the body, the blood, our blood itself, they got in the bloodstream, it's little mini universes inside of universes. And these blood cells, they talk to one another, they connect with one another, but they're all connected to your central heart, which is your spiritual mind. And so that's why you have to work really hard on getting your chakras aligned and then getting that heart space cleaned out. And then everything else starts to change like really, really, really fast. And so
self-care is number one.
Self-care, absolutely.
Number one. If you need to take a nap, take a nap.
Take a nap.
You need to be in the water, be in the water. You know, if you need to take a bath with salts, get in the bath. Whatever you feel like you need to do, you need to remove yourself from a crowd, from, you know, a situation, whatever. Take care of you.
Take care of you. Number one. Yes. Katina says, as you go through the process, the doors will be open to the next set of lessons. So each process is a learning process, and every step you take is valuable to you. It's valuable to the collective, but it's mostly, you can't take care of anybody else until you take care of yourself. You see? And so that doesn't mean that you got to be selfish or anything. You know, it really is all about you. And once you start emanating that divine light with compassion, love, kindness, gentleness, and those things, those attributes that Honey mentioned earlier, you'll see yourself start to really, really grow fast. So, oh my goodness, time has just gone completely. I mean, we've been on for an hour and a half, and
we gotta thank Darius, because he's tuning in.
He's in France.
He's in France right now. So it must be what, 3 o'clock, Darius? 4 o'clock over there?
It's getting 3 o'clock, but it's perfect time.
He's bringing all the Magdalene energy from the Magdalene land.
We're all usually up at 3 a.m. anyway.
Everyone is in France.
I know we are.
We are. Good.
Right? We are. So now we're used to it. But, yeah, it's been quite a pleasure. We had a little, maybe a little crater in the road when we started and everything, but we just put some more air in that tire. We went right over that crater just like it was nothing. So we are going to go ahead and close out with any final remarks from each of our panel guests regarding what we're going through in the Ascension process, and the best advice that you can give someone that's just starting out, or that's midstream, or that's even a highly ascended being. We're all together. So we all each have a little part to say and to play in this entire thing. So, you know, each one, y'all can leave a comment of advice or whatever you want to say before we close out. We'll start with Honey and Michael.
Light never fails.
Yes.
Light, follow that pure golden light, and it will guide you home.
I'm using that.
I hope. Thank
yes, you. Michael?
Live by your heart.
Oh.
Feel it, follow it, and be it. For no matter how loud the noise gets, let's just come back to our heart and feel that love that we all have for each other and one another.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Darius?
Well, life is a divine blessing, and especially to be alive at this time of Ascension right now, it's the most amazing blessing.
Yeah.
We're all divine masters, and we're supported at every single step of the way. We're never alone.
Yes, we're never alone. Absolutely. Thank you, Darius. Okay, Concetta, my darling, go ahead.
If I could leave you all with one word, it would be allow. Allow, allow, allow. Just allow whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you're up against, allow it to unfold, and ask that it unfold from a place of grace and ease, and just stay out of the chaos, and it'll be okay.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. And you know, Sandra, Concetta is sharing this live from her back is all the EESYSTEM. So everybody's getting blasted by the enhancement system in the back, the 8 panels.
Well,
I saw that. Yeah. I need my seat. Yeah. Go ahead and make me an appointment so I can get that.
I've been feeling them all night. My eyes are squinted by the energy.
Come on over.
I am so ready.
We're all super activated right now.
I bet you are. Wow.
Well, all of us. It comes right, you know, energy is energy. So it comes right through the screens.
All right, y'all gonna make me get up and twerk now.
Yeah.
I would not do that.
I love to see it.
I love to see that.
We'll do it together.
I pay to see
We'll
that.
do it together.
No, no. Listen, I always leave 4 thoughts with everybody. And as we close out, we want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts and our heart space to everybody that joined in with us. And even those that didn't, we send divine love and light to you. We wish you so much happiness, joy, kindness, compassion. We share that with you, and we want you to share it with someone else because we are all as one. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us. Our next show will be September the 30th. Honeybee and Michael has been, Honeybee and Michael has been such precious hearts as co-hosts. They are wonderful. I wish I could have them on every single time, but you know, these individuals are so all everywhere. They got all kind of stuff going on that is assisting with the planet and the growth, everybody's spiritual growth and stuff. And we're just so happy and honored to have them. Thank you, Darius. You're a real sweetheart. I could feel the vibration in your voice when I got the voice message from you. And I'm like, yeah, he's the one. He's the one. And Concetta, I did not get a chance to speak to you personally by phone or anything, but looking at you, darling, you are beautiful, radiant, Shekinah energy. I'm telling you, Magdalene energy all over the place. I am so grateful to be in your presence and all. And
I am you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all so much for coming. And we're going to close out by saying we love all of you, and we'll see you next time on Shifting to 5D Frequency, the New Earth, question and answer.
And I want to just say, Sandra, thank you so much for this opportunity. Darius is one of our best friends.
Wow.
So is Concetta. And what an honor truly for Michael and I to be able to be with two individuals that are such important part of our heart, our life, our earth mission, and to be with you, this pool of love. We are so grateful that you gave this opportunity. Thank you so much.
So welcome. You are so welcome. You don't understand the magnitude that this is creating. So that we have created this. We created it. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and bid you all a very, very good night.
Good night.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.